Today we have a quadruple base. It's time to put the Green River Foolproof against some other great bottles voted on by you guys. So today it's Green River Foolproof versus Wild Turkey Rare Breed versus Benchmark Foolproof versus the James E. Pepper Decanter barrel proof bottles. Let's see what wins. This is gonna be tough. Stay here. It's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C, and welcome back to the Mash and Drum. Like, subscribe, and help me get to 100,000 subscribers for 2024. Appreciate the support as always. And as always, if you have any suggestions for some head-to-head matchups, please leave them below in the comments and feed the algorithm. Now, since we have 4 barrel-proof bourbons in this matchup, I do want to talk about today's sponsor. They are back. It is the game changer, ZBiotics. All right, today's sponsor is ZBiotics. That's right, they are back. The world's first genetically engineered probiotic that I've been using and talking about for the last year or so. What can I say? It's really you guys that have me continuing to talk about how great ZBiotics works for you guys. So many stories I've heard when I go to meetups and bourbon events. Folks are literally pulling ZBiotics out of their back pockets. It really is the first drink for a better tomorrow. So if you don't know yet, how does this stuff work so well? ZBiotics was developed by some very smart scientists who knew the real problem is not dehydration. It's actually a byproduct of alcohol that is most responsible for rough mornings after drinking. ZBiotics produces an enzyme like the one your liver uses to break down this byproduct. So as I mentioned, anytime I know I'm gonna have a few drinks, head to a barrel selection, do a bourbon event, I take ZBiotics, and the next day I can wake up, get to work, get back to the gym, or get ready to travel back home the very next day. This is real science that works. There's no random plant extracts, there's no off-the-shelf ingredients, and no sugar added. All you have to do is drink one of these about an hour before you start drinking, and that's it. The job is done. You should still drink water, stay hydrated, and as always, if you can, get a good night's sleep. But ZBiotics will make it a lot easier for you to get out of bed or off the couch anytime you're going to have a few drinks the night before. So join all the people that I've talked to that have learned how well ZBiotics can work for you. Want to give it a try? Here's how. Go to zbiotics.com/mashanddrum or scan the QR code on the screen right now and get 15% off your first order when you use Mash and Drum at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is also backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason or you just don't feel like it's working for you, they will refund your money, no questions asked. So remember, head to zbiotics.com/mashanddrum and use the code mashanddrum at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring the video, and thank you, viewers, for making the sponsors happen. Cheers. All right, so let's learn a little bit about today's matchup. First is the bottle that started this whole matchup, which is the new Green River Foolproof. It's a blend of 5 to 7 year barrels. The first release comes in at 117.3 proof and is available now for about 50 bucks. Next, we have Wild Turkey Rare Breed. This is supposedly a blend of 6, 8, and 12-year-old bourbons. It's bottled at 116.8 proof. This is the latest bottle design, as you could see, also available for about 50 bucks. Also in the lineup is Benchmark Foolproof from Buffalo Trace. Now this is supposedly a 4-year-old bourbon. It's bottled at 125 proof and the cheapest bottle in the lineup today at only 23 bucks. Lastly is the James E. Pepper Decanter bottle, coming in at 105.4 proof. The average age is around 5.5 years old, and it's the most expensive bottle in the lineup today at about $65. But hey, it's a really nice bottle. All right, if this is your first time watching a double bass, triple bass, or in this case, a quadruple bass episode, basically what I do is I taste through all 4 of these, all my glasses here, and I rate them on nose, palate, and finish. Basically, the one glass with the most points wins. So let's see what we got. I'll do one more quick mix around. All right, this ought to be good. Here we go, first one. Bright citrus and vanilla on the first one. This has a really nice balanced nose, vanilla, orange, cinnamon candy. It's really nice. All right, let's go to the second one. While I like the nose here a little bit more, it's a little bit darker. I get a little bit more of a caramel note. The first one I feel was a little bit brighter. All right, second one is a little bit more apple. Definitely some citrus here too. The first 2 noses are pretty fantastic. I'm actually picking up a little bit of a strawberry kick here. A little bright fruit note. Interesting. All right, the first 2 are pretty good so far. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is a little bit more tame. Number 3 is candy sweet. Candy sweet on the nose. This is extremely fruit forward. This smells like a bag of Starburst chews. Starburst, yeah. Oh my gosh. That smells incredible. Okay, the nose already is pretty tough. All right, last one here. Probably the most corn forward, but also very sweet. Man, this one's tough. I don't really know which one I like the best here. One of these has to get the nose. Real quick, citrus cinnamon heavy. This one is, number 2 is kind of similar, but a little bit more of a fruit forward punch to it. Let's go to number 3. Coming off the first 2, number 3, as good as I like the nose, I do feel like it's lacking a little bit of depth. And 4, I think, was probably the most corn forward. So as far as nose goes, it's really between 1 and 2. I don't know, glass 1 just seems to have a little bit more going on than glass 2, but definitely glass 3 and 4 I think are a little bit further behind, I should say. So, all right, let's try glass 1. Much like the nose, very sweet, citrusy, extremely cinnamon heavy. Wow, a lot of baking spice there. Vanilla cream, you gotta get your usual, bourbon notes there. Some good caramel, a lot of spice. The finish on this one is already pretty stellar. Man, number 1. Number 1 wins on the nose. It's already coming off strong on the palate here. All right, let's go to number 2. Ooh. 2 is definitely sweeter, less spice, kind of a candy sweetness it's got. I love that little like strawberry note I'm getting right in the mid palate. It's kind of intertwined with the citrus on the mid palate too. This one has a really nice texture as well. I would say really coats the palate. Already it might be between 1 and 2 right now because those 2 are really good, both of them. Let's go to number 3. The number 3 had a pretty nice nose. I said it kind of smelled like a Starburst, like a bag of Starburst candy. Let's see what it does on the palate here. Yeah, I'm getting like more of a, not so much Starburst, but almost like a sweet tart candy. There's a tartness to it. There's a kind of a confectionery sugar type note to it as well. Another sip of that one. But I don't think this one has the depth that 1 and 2 does. Even though I really like it, 1 and 2 I think on the depth scale has a little bit more going on the palate. All right, number 4. Number 4 is definitely coming off the most youthful. A lot of corn, a lot of straight vanilla. Good palate though, not a ton of depth. I like the spice of it though. I like the finish on it. Let's go another sip here. A little bit of cherry there too. That's good. There's nothing wrong with any of these. They're all really solid sippers. I think depending on your palate, you can, it was just like the noses. The noses were really close. I think probably number 4 was the most far off because it definitely had the most youth to it. Number 3, I think was almost there, but just doesn't quite have the depth as 1 and 2. But I think this reigns true for the palate as well. 1 and 2 just have a little bit more going on. I gotta say, I think I like the palate on number 2 over number 1. Number 1 is coming through with a lot of baking spice, but I don't think it's balanced enough versus number 2. So each of these have a point. I got nose for number 1, palate for number 2. Number 3 and 4 are kind of out. They can't really win this matchup. So it's gonna be between 1 and 2 on the finish to see who wins out on this matchup. So, all right, this is pretty cool. Very rarely do I get a tie doing this. Usually there's one that kind of wins out, but this is kind of fun. All right, a couple more sips each here. This is probably the toughest matchup I've had in a while because these 2 are so close. I think I like the flavors on number 2 better. Number 1, I think, is so heavy on the baking spices. it kind of mutes the sweetness of the finish, but number 2, I think it carries it through. I might have to give it to number 2. Yeah, I think it's number 2 for the win, but by a hair. All right, so my least favorite out of this group was probably number 4. So let's find out what that one was. That is, okay, not surprising. This is the Benchmark Foolproof. You know, from Buffalo Trace, a really good sipper. The fact that it's $23, but only 4 years old, and I think the youthfulness against the other 3 kind of stood out here. But I will say that Benchmark Foolproof is one of those bourbons I always like to have around. It's nice, it's sweet, it's got a high proof, and it doesn't break the bank. So let's go to number 3. This one had the sweet tart type of flavor profile to it. And this is, okay. This is going exactly like I thought it would, and I'm scared. This is the James Pepper decanter. So again, average age of 5.5 years old, and the most expensive bottle of the group at $65, but it does come in this nice decanter. This is probably one of the better 5.5-year bourbons that I've tasted in a long time. I absolutely love the flavor profile of this one, but I have noticed lately when you put it in a blind against some stuff that's a little bit older, the youthfulness does shine through a little bit. And while it does have some great sweet flavors, I think it lacks a little bit of depth. So there you go. So it's down to Rare Breed and Green River. Here's my guess. I think number 1 is actually the Rare Breed, because I've been saying that Rare Breed lately has gone very, very heavy on the cinnamon and the baking spices, and I think that's what I tasted in number 1, but I could be wrong. Let's see. The winner of this matchup is friggin' Green River. I don't know what to tell you. Second place goes to the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. This is the first time that Wild Turkey Rare Breed has lost a blind for me in a very long time. Look, I've been very fortunate in my life to do a good amount of Wild Turkey barrel picks, and a lot of the barrel picks that are not selected are very heavy cinnamon to the point where it's almost medicinal. And I feel like some of those barrels I'm tasting in the Rare Breed lately. So maybe that's playing into it. I have older bottles of Rare Breed that would probably kill this entire blind. But when it comes to this latest batch, I like the Green River a little bit more. I think it had some more pleasing flavors. I think the finish was just as long as the Rare Breed without that drying baking spice note that it has. So a really interesting quadruple base, and yeah, it's exciting to see what Green River is going to keep bringing to the forefront. We'll see how consistent these can get, because the proof points on these will vary, but this one being about 117 and change was right there with the Rare Breed the whole time. But I think that heavy baking spice characteristic that the Rare Breed has, at least in this batch, is what kind of did it in. All right, guys, thanks for watching this quadruple base matchup as we use your votes to put some of these bottles against the Green River Foolproof. Obviously, it did very well. Curious of what your thoughts are down in the comments, or if you have any other bottles that you want me to put the Green River against. Always excited to hear from you guys. So if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. And if you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram. Let me know your thoughts below. Again, leave any other suggestions below for upcoming double base matchups. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. So we're going to combine all 4 of these as I normally like to do. Make a little blend. I don't even know what I would call this blend because there's all these different names. So if you guys have any ideas, leave them down below in the comments. Let's see how this worked out. The nose doesn't smell promising. I don't like it. See you next time, everybody, on the Mash and Drum.